All right, guys. You want Chris Paul to come?
No.
Why not?
He's old.
So?
I don't know. I mean, you can't get along with Ty Lue, and you're going to be disruptive to the organization?
Was he disruptive, or did they just... Like, I heard the complaints where he was calling out the team. Don't the Cavs need some of that?
Maybe, but I mean, I don't know. You don't think you think Ty Lue is not a good leader?
I think Ty Lue's a good leader, so that's why this was
That's
weird
why
to me.
Yeah, so to me, it's just bizarre, and I want nothing to do with it.
All right, Mike?
From a basketball standpoint, on the court, it makes no sense whatsoever. None at all. Chris Paul plays slow.
Yeah.
He wants the ball in his hands. You can see the odds. The Cavs are actually, according to BetOnline, the favorites.
Why are they the favorites?
I have no idea. I don't get any of these teams, honestly. I don't think any of them besides the Rockets make even a lick of sense, but these were the odds that BetOnline put up.
Rockets don't play fast, so.
And they don't have a traditional point guard with Fred VanVleet out.
Yeah.
So in theory, that's the only team I could see that makes even an ounce of sense. The Grizzlies, the Thunder, the Lakers, they play too fast. You can't have LeBron and Chris Paul on the same team at this age.
Why doesn't if you're CP3, aren't you going to a team that can win a championship?
I think the Rockets makes the most sense by far.
But not the Thunder? If you want to win a title?
He wouldn't play for them at all. He is an absolute cone on defense. And they play.
He's a cone.
He is. I mean, and that's why, from a basketball standpoint, Chris Paul in Cleveland makes no sense. From an offensive standpoint.
They already play no defense.
Well, defensively, they've tried playing pressure defense. It hasn't worked, but once again, he's an absolute zero on defense. Offensively, he wants the ball in his hands. He wants to play pick and roll. The Cavs are running less pick and roll. He doesn't shoot threes. It's a horrific basketball fit in Cleveland.
Yeah.
However, your point about, can we say that he's an asshole?
Yeah.
Chris Paul is a legitimate asshole, and the Cavaliers may need that kind of person in the locker room right now to help them kind of right the ship. So I don't really know how I feel, because I think from a basketball standpoint, he is washed. I don't think he would help this team 1 ounce on the court. But there could be the locker room part of it that it fits in.
That a guy who's going to be a Hall of Famer was sent home because he's a problem.
Yeah.
I mean, that's I don't need anything. I don't need any of that on my team.
What I would say is, if I'm Kenny Atkinson and the Cavs have a chance to get him, I'd go to Donovan Mitchell, and I'd say, do you want him here?
Yeah, of course.
And if Donovan says yes,
that's the case probably with every acquisition.
Right. If Donovan says yes, I'd sign him. And if Donovan said nah, then I'm not even considering it.
I'm the same way.
I don't care what the rest of the team thinks. I only care what Donovan thinks. That's it. And Donovan thinks he needs some guy to be a pain in the ass on the team. Then so be it. Then bring him in. Yeah. And if not, but Houston probably makes a lot of sense.
It's the only team that makes any sense in my mind for him and for
him and Durant are buddies.
Yeah, and Udoka, their head coach, likes players that are kind of from the Chris Paul mold. Pull the stats back up. Like, I don't know if you guys have watched any Clippers this year. The Clippers are a disaster.
They're
Chris
terrible,
Paul is completely
I watched a little bit.
Like, completely. And he had a Hall of Fame career. He's on the back. Like, he's old.
How old? He's like 40, right?
Yeah, he played 82 games last year. Like he was actually a decent contributor for San Antonio.
Kawhi's always injured, man.
He just doesn't have it this year. The shot's falling off.
How old is he?
I think he's 40 or 41. Like,
so
he's legit
of course,
old.
Obviously.
But he was solid last year. He wasn't this washed.
He's like the same class as LeBron. Isn't he like 03?
Yeah.
I think he was 04 the year after.
Okay. Wasn't who's the that podcast, that basketball show that Michelle Beadle does with 3X players?
FanDuel show.
Chandler Parsons.
Parsons.
Yeah, Parsons.
Did you hear what he said about LeBron?
No.
Well, he didn't like because LeBron was like hunting this.
Oh, when he went for his 10 points of the day?
First of all, does anybody besides him care about that?
Nope.
Is that a meaningful record?
Nope.
How many consecutive games with 10 points? I can't believe he even cares about that.
And if you include the postseason, he is not number one. It's literally regular season.
It's beyond stupid. Yeah. But he said watching LeBron the other day was the first time he really felt like, he may not be LeBron anymore.
He's not LeBron this year. Now he's coming back from sciatica, or sciatica, excuse me. Which, from all accounts, and I've never had sciatica. Maybe you guys have.
I have had it.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's like the worst thing in the world.
It is. I had it right before the NFL draft, actually, and it was one of the worst things ever. It's just that nerve that runs right through your buttocks, like your piriformis muscle, and like I had no feeling in my leg. So
it's pretty awful.
It's very debilitating.
Yeah. So I mean, he hasn't been the same player. It is what it is. I don't think he'll ever be the LeBron James that can carry a team for 4 games in a playoff series, put the guys on their back, which is why the Luka trade made so much sense when they made it last year. And he's really the third.
Not the boldest statement when he's 41 years old.
But he's been Iron Man. He's been that guy.
No, but
later in his career than anyone
Iron Man's
had.
Iron Man until Iron Man's not Iron Man.
Yeah.
Right.
Eventually, it happens.
He hasn't been a guy that could carry a team to a championship in a couple of years.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean,
that's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
He's still a very good player, no? Or is he not?
No, he's still. Yeah.
I mean, is he going to be an all-star? He shouldn't be, probably.
He
right?
will be.
He probably will be because it's a fan vote.
Yeah.
But no, he's not.
By the way, what percentage of the fan vote do we know in the NFL goes to the fans' control?
I have no
Like,
idea.
can the fans get Shador Sanders in the Pro Bowl?
He's on the ballot. He is on the ballot.
You know what? I know people are going to vote for him. Honestly, you're doing him a disservice if you vote him to the Pro Bowl. It's embarrassing for him.
It's just a popularity contest.
But don't you think it's embarrassing if he gets there? Because all the other people are going to be like,
very.
a fan should not vote for him. If I were him, I wouldn't want to give. I mean, maybe he wants to go. Maybe he doesn't care. To me, that would be embarrassing.
You should have to play in a certain amount of snaps.
Yeah,
I mean, Tyler Huntley made the Pro Bowl the year
That
he
was
had
a
2
joke.
touchdowns and 3 interceptions because 10 guys turned it down. Like,
there should have never been an amount. That was still a screw up.
I know. I agree.
But if you can't, at this point, you don't have to have a certain amount of guys because they don't play the game anymore.
No, I just would name the Pro Bowlers, and whether they want to come or not, like those are your Pro Bowlers.
Right,
Everyone else
that's
can
it.
come and just
this
be
having
part
these
of the
backups
festivities.
and all this stuff is stupid. They're not legitimate awards. That's why I don't even pay attention to Pro Bowls. But I hope people don't do it. Like yesterday, the Browns were out promoting David Njoku as a Pro Bowler. I mean, that's just ridiculous. Why would you do that? That's so embarrassing.
I don't know.
He's
Speaking
going to
of
finish with like 500
I was
yards
going to
this
say,
year.
you know what else is embarrassing was the Cavs' performance last night.
Sorry, I sidebar us.
no, they sucked last night.
The Cavs, but I have been beating up the Cavs more than anybody on this show.
And I'm proud of you for what you're about to say.
And but now I got to turn the page. Again, social media is not real life, but I went on social media after the game for a few minutes to see what people were saying about the Cavs. And I saw this guy who I know. Shout out to Ryan, who is in in my fantasy baseball league, and he's a big Cleveland sports fan. He lives obviously in the area. And he tweeted, "Man, the Cavs are more embarrassing than the Browns." And I'm like, that pissed me off so much to read that.
Why?
Because the other teams in this town don't deserve to be lumped in with this pathetic Browns franchise, right? Like, there's things to complain about, certainly when it comes to the Guardians, and certainly when it comes to the Cavs. There are complaints. The Cavs have only, won once. The Guardians haven't won for most of us since we've been alive. But those are, on some level, solid to very good run organizations. All right? There's issues. Dan Gilbert used to be too much of a meddler. With the Guardians, the owner doesn't spend enough money. I get the complaints. Jimmy Haslam's one of the worst owners in sports. The Browns are thought of as a joke organization. No neutral sports fan in America thinks of the Cavs as an embarrassing organization, do they?
No, they do not.
Does anybody in the country that's a casual baseball fan or even a diehard baseball fan think of the Guardians as an embarrassing organization?
Here's the test. Wear a Cavs hoodie across the country and through airports.
Right.
No one's going to give you a hard time at all.
Same thing with the Guardians.
Wear a brown shirt.
Yeah.
People will make fun of you.
Exactly. So when people
or they'll say, I feel sorry for you.
Yeah, right.
Sorry for you.
As soon as something goes wrong with the Guardians and Cavs, there's people so quick to want to I don't know why we do this. Oh, they're more embarrassing. Nothing's more embarrassing than the Browns.
You fall into that category. You've been ripping them all year.
Okay. Yes, I have. But I've never once said they're as embarrassing as the Browns, have I?
No.
Okay.
And by the way, some of the criticism is 100% deserved
The
right
criticism is all fair.
Yeah.
But this idea that as much as I've killed the Cavs, this idea that the season's over, people are over the top. They lost 4 of 5. Oh my! Even last year when the Cavs had a great season, there was a stretch where they lost a bunch
in March.
Right, where they
lost 4 or 5 in March. Yeah.
It is December.
Yeah.
Who gives a rat's patootie that they've lost 4 out of 5? Oh my God, they lost to Portland. Portland stinks. Yeah, the Cavs are not very good right now. They're not very good.
Don't you think you think back to the last few years, right?
Yeah.
This team has made the playoffs. They've had these.
Yeah.
What, they win 60-something games last year?
64.
Very good regular seasons,
Right.
especially the last 2 years.
So, and then the postseason was the same result.
Yeah.
They get bounced.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm actually okay with this because it's
yeah.
different. Maybe they'll go through a little bit of adversity.
Yes.
Maybe they'll have to figure some stuff out. I can't
Right.
say that word.
Yeah.
On TV anymore. And maybe they'll be different in the postseason
That's
because
right.
of this. So I'm okay with this.
And maybe they'll just stink. But
And maybe they will. But either way, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They're either going to get bounced in the first or second round, like they did the last couple of years.
Right.
This year.
Yeah.
But this stuff doesn't matter. Like, we're going to worry about it
Right.
now?
Well,
Let them try to figure it out.
Right, the last 2 years they were great. We loved them in the regular season. It didn't matter. So, yes, are they playing well now? Of course they're not. They're playing lousy basketball. Nobody's trying to argue that they're playing well.
Yeah, it wasn't a great
They
performance
stink
last night.
right now. But who cares?
I'm so proud of you right now, Bo. I really am, man. From the bottom of my heart.
The bottom,
Bottom of my heart. I'm
from the
so
bottom.
proud of you.
Yeah.
No, they're playing like crap right now.
Yeah.
They'll be the first. Donovan and Kenny yesterday both said,
Yeah.
playing like poop, for lack of a better word. Right now, we got to figure this out. Donovan, though, I thought was very pointed in his post-game media availability yesterday when he said, I don't want to use the word concern, because as soon as I say concern, it gets blown up into something bigger than it is. But right now, we are not a good basketball team. And if we come back at the end of January and the beginning of February, and we're having these same conversations, then I'll be concerned. Then we're going to have some difficult decisions to make and some difficult, he should play, he shouldn't play. How do we fix this? But he said, it's December. We have 59 games in the regular season to go. They have just surpassed the 25% mark.
59.
59 games to go.
Yeah. They have
still
not
haven't had
surpassed
Max
the
Strus.
25% mark, by the way.
Yeah, they've played 23 games.
Oh, you're right. Bad job of me.
Third time. Bad L.
Point Mike.
That was a point for you.
Thank you.
Stacking L's over here, man.
Bull today is what the super should say. But no, Darius is still working his way back from a toe injury. Doesn't look right yet. You have to hope he gets back to being the old version of Darius. You haven't had Max Strus all season. You haven't had Sam Merrill for the last week and a half. You haven't had Jared Allen. They're missing 4 legitimate rotation guys. It's going to be clunky. Now, that is not to excuse the fact that they still need to play better.
Yeah.
They still should be able to beat Portland without those guys. They still should be able to beat a shorthanded Boston team without those guys. I don't want to seem like I'm making an excuse for how they've played, because they have not played good basketball. They've not played anywhere near the kind of basketball that this team is capable of playing, even with guys out on the sidelines because they're injured. But we can't spend all summer saying the regular season doesn't matter because they win and then they flounder in the playoffs.
Right.
To now freak out on December 4th.
Right, doesn't make any
that
sense.
this team isn't as good or isn't where they need to be, because this team today is going to look very different than this team in March. And if it doesn't, then it's all null and void anyway, because they're going to get bounced in the first round and they're going to blow it up. It's a work in progress.
Yeah.
They still need time. I am not telling you not to be they have some legitimate concerns, but it's December 4th, guys. It's December 4th.
Yeah.
There is still time to right the ship, and I'll just keep going back to this last stat. Indiana was the hottest team in the league down the stretch last year. They made the finals, lost in Game 7.
Right.
They were 20-25 midway through January. They were 5 games under 500.
And that's not common. But
it goes, and they had injuries earlier in the season. They got everyone together. They changed how they played.
Right.
And the team that they ended the regular season with did not resemble 1 ounce of the team that they started the regular season with.
That's true.
It happens. Boston, the year they lost to the Golden State Warriors in the finals, was 22-23 in the middle of January.
Yeah.
They got hot, go on a run, reach the finals. My point is, the team you are in December does not remotely resemble the team you are when the playoffs start. And even the Cavs last year were 17-1 at one point. And they sucked in the playoffs.
That's right.
So even when you're good to bad.
I think Miami Heat, the first year with LeBron, started like 8-9 or 9-10, something like that. I'm not obviously comparing this, but there's
two different teams. But it happens.
But the Cavs have 3 guys who are amongst the worst shooters in the league right now, and Darius Garland, DeAndre Hunter, and Lonzo Ball. Is he the worst shooter in the league right now?
He's the worst high-volume shooter in basketball.
Yeah.
It's not great.
What's his 3-point percentage?
26%.
I can't believe it's even that high.
You ready? He's taken, I hope I get this number right. It's something, if I'm not exactly on the numbers, it's something right around here. He's taken 114 shots this year. 11 have been inside the arc. So he's only shooting threes, and he can't make threes right now.
Were you expecting this? Not him shooting poorly, but shooting that high a percentage of threes?
He doesn't drive. Yeah, Lonzo does not. I mean, we've talked about the fact for his career, he averages like 3 drives a game. This year he's down to about 1.5, which to me, like, the whole issue with the Cavs offense right now is they have an offense predicated on dribble penetration and shooting threes, right? They lose Ty Jerome. Darius isn't the same Darius. Strus, who is actually sneaky good at getting to the paint, hasn't played yet. Mobley, who we thought was going to be able to take on some of that penetrating, get into the paint and kick out, hasn't made that leap. So they're not getting to the paint nearly as much.
I don't want to hear about Ty Jerome because you all were happy to see him out of here.
No. I still think.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Ty. Nobody liked Ty more than I did.
I know that, but you all jumped off his bandwagon they signed Lonzo Ball.
And I thought Lonzo would be able to supplement part of that, and I thought Evan would be able to supplement part of that, and Darius would be healthier than he appears to be at the moment. It hasn't happened. So now you have an offense that's predicated on dribble penetration and kicking out to open threes, and you're not getting to the paint. Well, you're a terrible three-point shooting team. You don't get to the free throw line, and you're not offensive rebounding. So it's no wonder.
And they're not playing good defense like they have in the past.
And Kenny said last night, and this is something I think is worth keeping an eye on, Kenny said we cannot let the fact that we're missing shots impact our defensive effort. Not even it's an effort thing defensively. They missed, I think at one point, like 7 or 8 threes in a row in the second quarter, and you could just see guys
there was
trotting back on
defensive
defense.
Series where DeAndre Hunter did not raise his arms once.
And he's one of the guys that can't make a shot. Yeah.
I think this week off they're going to have will be good for them.
Yeah. By the way, in the past, Kenny's given them the week, like some time off during that. They're practicing every single day right now.
They need that.
Every single day.
Yeah.
They're not playing good. They're not playing good at all.
No, they're playing
they're not
lousy
playing
basketball right now. When's their next game? Tomorrow?
They play the Wemby-less Spurs tomorrow.
Then Saturday against the
and the Steph Curry-less. Yes.
Yeah.
And then they have the entire week off.
And they play the Colorado Rockies on the 12th.
Colorado Walkie Beer?
Yeah. The Washington Rocky. I wonder if you think it snows in Washington?
I don't know, man. Good question.
In Washington, D.C., it definitely snows.
Can we look that up? Is this snow?
How much snow per capita in Washington, D.C., Anthony? Look that
Actually,
up.
before I look it up, can I make one point about the Cavs?
Yeah.
No.
Last night?
Ant was there last night, so.
No.
All right, never mind, Bull. Fine. I got to go look up some snow averages.
Go ahead.
We've been kind of negative to talk about. They played like crap last night, right?
Yeah.
But 3 players were actually really fun to watch last night that you guys haven't brought up, and it's Naquan Tomlin, Thomas Bryant, and Jalen Tyson. And that young core looks really fun, and they're starting to look the part.
Is Thomas Bryant that young?
Thomas Bryant isn't that young, but he's a lunatic and he's awesome.
Yeah.
He's awesome. And I hope may have a sit down with Thomas Bryant coming up very soon.
Okay.
But
are Thomas Bryant, Naquan Tomlin, are they legit NBA players?
So Thomas
they
Bryant
could play in the playoff series.
Thomas Bryant played in the playoffs for the Pacers last year. He made some huge threes against the Cavs.
You're right.
Now,
that's a good point.
He goes in and out. Here's my thing with Thomas Bryant.
Yeah.
I don't know this for a fact. I'm just speculating. I'm not sure Thomas Bryant knows a single play. I don't think when he's on the court, the Cavs run any offensive sets. He's just an energy.
Yeah.
And I say this, and I mean this sincerely in the best way. He's a lunatic. But sometimes you need a kind of a lunatic, a wild card, especially without Max Strus, to provide some of the spark that others are missing. He actually talked after the first time he had a media availability after the game because he made a couple threes, had a block shot. And he's like, hey, my minutes are sporadic, but when I get out there, I'm playing with 185% intensity.
Yeah.
Because I may only get 3 minutes. And if I only get 3 minutes, that's the only 3 minutes I'm going to get. I got to make the most of it. He's a former 5-star recruit coming out of high school. He's bounced around the league. Went to Indiana to college. He can play. Tyson was good last night. Tomlin, he didn't have a great game last night, but his energy is contagious. And Don and Evan played awesome last night. Like, those two weren't the issue. It's funny. We've talked about how Evan hasn't lived up to some of the moments this year. Evan was terrific last night. And no one else
that
played.
He's been playing better as they've been losing.
He's been making more shots. He was awesome. He had 5
He's
blocks.
not driving to the basket as much anymore.
He was 3 of 7 from 3 last night. Kenny mentioned that he thought he could have taken a few more shots, but when he goes back and watches the film with Evan, a lot of times he's like, Evan made the right basketball play. Even if it isn't shooting and we want him to shoot more, he's making the smart play. But he had 5 blocks. He single-handedly kept them. He was the only defensive presence they had whatsoever on the entire court. So we could blame a lot of people. They haven't been good enough. Evan hasn't been good enough this season.
Right.
Last night's not on Evan.
All right.